Hi, GC News. Mema Ovia Aquava had the latest and hot news in one and the Bremo and Uti Sebunia subscribe ya body and say over subscribe. Now like no say video. Dobaya say over click the subscribe button. Now barely notification. When sa video be upload no. Also when sa can be. I feel we are one like the video give us a thumbs up now feel share just say was so na e na amount for so enye bi na wo hwe na wone hu de ekoso ewo gara man ho ano afi ye hwe ensema abeto bo ye poso enti eye ensemu ya ababeto ba enti.
There have been too many scandals lately, from the PDS scandal to Ameri scandal to the cathedral scandal. Just too many, and it's extremely embarrassing to read these things every day. But I thank Ghanaians for their patience. This one has ensured that Ghana has could be stable and to be peaceful, and I pray that Ghanaians continue to be patient and believe in the democratic process. And more recently, we are hearing about something called Agyapadie. And sadly, my company is also mentioned in that book. My small strategic African security is also mentioned in that book. I find it difficult to believe that that was a genuine document. But of course, certain things that we go through.
You are watching Juicy News on
give
YouTube.
us
hot news all time. You are watching Juicy
thoughts
News on
to the
YouTube.
contrary.
Hot news all time.
I recall that in 2019 thereabout, we received a letter for us to sign, pre-written in our name, to sign to resign from the group of companies that advise government on its bond issues. That came as a shock. Another time, we had a commercial paper outstanding with a state-owned financial institution that had not matured. Suddenly, we had debt collectors at our door demanding repayment of money that had not matured. So when I reflect on some of these things, then I begin to wonder. And only about 2 months ago, Yoko was at a small factory that we own in Tema, Pioneer Kitchenware. We're just majority share owners of a company that is going through hard times, closed down. We're thinking of reviving it. And Yoko was there because PKL allegedly was owing rates to Tema Development Corporation. And you wonder, what did Yoko have to do with indebtedness of a small company to, So when you look at all of these things, then you begin to rethink about your view of Agyapadie. But again, you just reminded me about my involvement in the startup of Data Bank. So that makes it even more surprising that after helping to found that company, I could also be a target. Anyway, but a lot of scandals are part of the problems that have drawn our country back. And these scandals have become possible because in Ghana now there is so little respect for the truth. Truth, freedom, and justice are all principles that are currently imperiled. It's difficult to know when you are hearing the truth and when you are hearing otherwise. I just read today that even the ownership of the newly commissioned gold refinery
Hot news all time.
is being disputed.
Juicy news on YouTube. Hot news all time.
So the lack of truth, the lack of transparency, lack of accountability are all part of the problems of this country. Those have made corruption possible. If you have to fight for our development, we have to deal with corruption. We have to deal with accountability. We have to deal with the truth. There is always only one truth. Your Excellency, again, so much is politicized in our country. So much is politicized. Development is politicized. Even our football sometimes is politicized. Whether a community voted for the president or not, they also deserve development. Personally, I think opposition is what makes victory sweet. So political leaders must not hate their opponents. After all, you've won. You have to be very magnanimous to those you've defeated and accept everybody as part of this country and therefore deserving of whatever this country has to offer. But so much is politicized in this country. There were many projects that we tried to undertake that had possibilities of waivers, and you find it difficult to get some of those waivers, particularly for manufacturing plant and equipment. But let me tell you the interesting about football. You know, House of Oak is a club I control. We're in Africa with our counterparts. Our counterparts are offered money by government who are not giving money. That is the kind of politicization that is not good for this country. Pettiness that's not for this country. And you recall recently, for the first time, when there was a Republic Cup tournament, a team was brought from Cote d'Ivoire to come and play our counterparts, quite against what has been the norm. So when I talk politicization of development, possession of issues, these are the kind of things I'm talking about. Those don't augur well for national cohesion and the unity that we need to develop our country. And those are things that we all have to work together to fight. I can continue with the fact that the private sector does not enjoy the honest support that it deserves. And that also affects our development.
Hot news all time. You are watching
many policies benefit cronies, benefits relatives, benefits friends, to the exclusion of others. That is not fair. Whether we belong to party A or party B, we are all the same people. We all deserve whatever the nation has to offer. And I think a fair-minded leader, a leader who wants to ensure national unity and cohesion, should aim at that, to ensure that everybody can have fair opportunity. So we don't come with virtually predatory policies that are targeted to benefit a few people. We heard about how PDS was touted as a, structured to ensure majority Ghanaian ownership, only for us to realize that those were special, Ghanaians who were going to enjoy that majority. That is not the kind of development strategy that we need in this country. If we have to approach private sector fairly and for it to make development possible, we must be very, very even-handed and see that we all Ghanaians to start with. So cronyism has not been good for our country. And I'll ask that anybody who emerges as leader of this country tries to be a president for all, not a president for just a section of the country. Again, as I said, opposition is what makes victory sweet. And sometimes you get a lot more guidance from those who oppose you than from those who support you. So let's value our opponent.
Master Jajo, akan.
It'll be akan.
We get analysis na. Pe. What is Mekan chapter paragraph of your house? What's it? Currently, with Nana in total control of the whole entity of Ghana, we have a duty to ensure that we take over the commanding height of the essential fabric of the factory, of the country, in order that even in the event that Nana leaves the scene after the mandatory 8 years, the sons and daughters of Okyehene will be firmly secured and such control both financially and economically, that can no longer be ignored in the battle to control the destiny of Ghana.
You are watching Juicy News on YouTube. Hot news all the time. You are watching Juicy News on YouTube. Hot news all the time.
What say you to be a man? What you say? What's it? In doing this,
yes,
we need to be strategic.
Okay.
We would have to work with other people from some of the diverse ethnic groups, including some carefully selected people in Ashanti and other diverse ethnicities or land. This will make them believe that they also have a hand in the pie.
Hey.
When we say NPP beko primaries, champion great people from the Ashanti region. Oh, and yeah, we say ya be. What would you know? No more get this. It will obscure any suspicion that the project is essentially an Okyehene project. This point is crucial because with electoral politics, we have to have our eyes on the numbers in the electoral process.
Okay.
We cannot be blatant until we are completely secured in the endeavor. It is especially so because so far the Ashantis constitute the single most populous ethnic group in this country. We'll do the next paragraph.
Yes.
Paragraph 9.
Yes.
Was it although the Ashanti group within the current NPP is gearing itself to take over the party after Nana's tenure in 2024. It will be ideal if we could work to bypass them in 2024. With hard work, we could work to pass the mantle over to a non-account person, preferably from the north, under whose presidency we could secure the maturity of our takeover project. Jesus Christ.
Watch my guys be sure.
Jesus Christ. And then, but then we can say MPP Fraber of River,
the northern part of Ghana.
But Minchina has say muye. What say? Asante for more MPP mu. War mo say wa mo enebedi MPP anim. E brand na Akufo Addo awie.
Yes.
Na omo modern say omo be ma na fa Asante for no ho. Na omo fama obi a onye akani. Na mo bebi omo pepa ne say dipa ne be free enough.
Comes much my guys be sure.
When I see an answer and see ye.
Nipa be 5 and 6.
Who betra ho ka say a fake documenter, then you yourself should examine your head. Asem na ga bi kokotre no, he should examine his head first. What if say Jimmy Okroma say? Asem we abam na asam. Wait, 2018. What's his name? What dear, my main call or boss the answer.
Kennedy Agyapong.
What dear tea? Near Kafa Kennedy Agyapong. In this book, they have 332 galamsey companies. Our mugumo muyajuma. Ko deep forest, Ubeko galamsey e koso ohodum. And then in that be no work say.
When I say president, because the presidency bet online if they try to do galamsey.
What am I? Ofi say, look, me say nkrofo bi o mo akọ school, o mo nyankopon yo mo adom, o mo akọ school, o mo abin, o di agro o mo be bi ti osisi a.
I want to be Kennedy Agyapong bi wo.
Kennedy Agyapong.
Yes.
Ti eni o mo kafa no.
Yes.
Kennedy Agyapong.
Yes.
A very good asset. The party must, as a matter of need and a possibility, defend him going into 2020 elections. Way back in 2018.
Okay.
At year 2020 elections. He has the utmost control over our action troopers.
You are watching
grassroots.
Yes. Delta force, invisible force,
and all the former criminal elements who are purposed for the final push. In addition to his deep pockets, his financing of grassroots affirms our dire need of him at all costs in 2020 elections. Before 2020, once another, Yakoto Kennedy Agyapong was say, no at all costs. Because we don't have a move, now boys no move. We can say sit, no more sit. Etino, bibia mu beye bia, we mudi beja Kennedy Agyapong for 2020 elections. We mo ebeya mano.
Yes.
We we no mo say we brother fool. While conceding his magnanimity towards the base, his trenchant for being a loose cannon in attacking persons who should be left alone is sometimes worrying. As a result, he must eventually be weighing off as our project reaps dividends.
Hey,
me say
dividends.
Me say bugwe ye be chirima magana fo nyina tiase.
Project no do
dividend. Say we must secure second term we are dividend na ba. It is that time no you pushing out.
Then you become irrelevant in the party.
To need less and less of his funding. Satemuno, afe kandi sikabo and fesikamo yan found
irrelevant.
His self-confessed unbreaking quest for personal wealth is a potential threat to causing us to suffer needless exposure. It is important for a dossier, it is important for a dossier to be prepared on him and deliberately leaked through our friends in opposition, who will call for his prosecution. Kene Opoku is to revise the 2016 plan and progress to his dossier for this purpose, but should be filed under any of should not be filed under any official seal.
What's the fight for Chechemini and fancy? So after all the sacrifice this man has sacrificed for the party.
Yeah, will come her party for me to me quadrative to secretary the Japan de kum ameswali. Won't ye?
Ah, so Mati.
Won't ye?
Mati.
Et you what you want them there say book where you fake. Now what you want them say wujedi. Was he unprepared those here? Ye leaky informal opposition for. It should not come under any seal. This book is under a seal. A family be seal and a dasono. But the Omuba prepared the opposition for no one call for Kennedy Agyapong in prosecution should not be under any seal.
After all the commitment and everything.
After all the commitment.
Dedication.
Some people koko trapo NPP for Komuko and trapo president in the Kennedy China ho a fighting no. That petria any what you want them say a fishing. Ace.
Because say rubbish.
Mami mao.
And I fancy me.
Banks no kwai omo be fa so a omo be wurawura.
Yes.
Omo classified into three. Ye wo mother, ye wo biological children,
yes,
and ye wo adopted children.
Yes.
More than a Bank of Ghana. What they will tell me nti.
Ye nko Ecobank ono.
Ye ko Ecobank ono. Eno eye under adopted children. Ecobank ti. Ninjida mu no e kire se wo mo enkonko pese wo mo control na se bibisa.
Okay.
but omo promo crofo wo board no so na e ba se omo disika bi ba for more personal businesses are netima fa ho.
Okay. Fancy.
What say we have two routes of entry into this institution.
Yes.
First is through Senate, which has a seat on board of Ecobank Ghana by virtue of its shareholding. The seat is occupied by Director General of Senate. In phase 2 of our agenda,
in phase 2
of our agenda, Sabugwe revision we no 2018 no.
Yes.
In phase 2 of our agenda, Kofi Bosompem Osafumafo, who is a Deputy Director General of Senate, should be made the Director General to give him the seat on the Ecobank Ghana board. And then many will say, who is the Director General of Senate?
Wait a minute, wait dear.
Look, take your time, analyze it. It is a NDC for a natural sabuku way, and na abayi implemented ya at the ehun. At the ehun. Me say this book, there should be a forensic audit to get the source of this book.
That's what can you do?
I'm a expert. Baby free. Yet you want to say a fiction.
I say imagination a dream.
Hey, the last one. The last one. With them who say the last one.
Yes.
Under oil and gas.
Page 10 on last one.
Under you can say Woko Wofri capital market and insurance. The next page. The next page. Mining, oil and gas industries. Baby Kranan can person can about the electricity. But the uncle has say, what say our mining as well as oil and gas strategies constitute a major plank of our blueprint for controlling the extraction of natural resources, which God has generously bestowed on Ghana, particularly the Akyem land. The next, was it to this end? Okay, my member has said, growing environmental factors are rendering risky.
Yes.
Our use of illegal small-scale mining, galamsey, as a source of financing our political objectives. There is therefore a need to roll out a more rigorous legal means of controlling significant stake in the legal good value chain. Let's just say, what can you say? Send you know, Omukas omu depend on galamsey nunkwa emre bi beba ebe hadwene nti omumpe legal yi. It was it to this end. A cursory look at the proof concession should be looked at. Asante Bedietuo is to lead the process to take over these concessions detail below and consolidate them into the standard Ejapa LLC incorporated in Jersey. Ejapa LLC, Eco Parliament and Anko Parliament.
Hey. Hopes watch my being CBB.
Franco. Hey, Ejapa LLC. Look, last I called this one, Honorable Adongo.
Yes.
Then person be funny.
Yes.
And the briefings in all the Maya. What's a minority work up?
Yes,
that
yes,
time, majority, they had the numbers to pass it.
Yes.
But today this year so senior the President Babonche said omkwako revision.
Yes.
Nafe asaba back to parliament. What kind of question tabu konti? Mo pa bo memra part 2. Tabu konti a. Kabeye say royalties no mo so mba bejeje no. A chunk of it will be diverted into account of mato edin war account.
War fund bi.
War fund. War fund. Me a diverted look,
what this country,
hey, Ghana DBA, sorry, we need to fight this.
Really?
All Ghanaians are entitled to our natural resources. When you jam Bushanko Bako, what can we say? We'll be over Jedinunko examine head. Excuse me. And that power and Kebimugra will work free. We are saying, Unkofa, I don't was in a shisho mumu. Musidi, they should stop it. Abushanfo. to end this, your best re. Mumma yemfa to me no Emma Alanko.
They say our production team no crack catch him say they are making arrangements. Why be part 2?
I said be part 2. Yeah, part 3 crack home.
But who's one of your machine you?
Me say we see
after all the sacrifice by Kennedy Agyapong.
I don't say I phones who you. When you get it, print it. The bandit they say. The fat pen kita. What dia wo kind na was in science here. Wo kind that was in science here. Who we are sa go through beam. Who pe yes, you fan fast anti-phone. You can for being free no from that. I see, I see. Kennedy Agyapong 2020 year, young crono. That one why you are your body galaway, young dosia, near ye. I see, I see. But you are Montrao. That ye and Babbe train abba. I say, ya transi. I'm a side way as you organa.
Mr.
Jabuzafo, ya better when you say.
Yo waiting for we the end summer abameto ye so na ka wo say GCD so na wo hwe no se wunya subscribe ya omodi na say o subscribe na like it na fe so wa share video no ama for any bi ahwe wo so beti a kire wa dia fa ye se wunya ho e wo comment box ni weti ni dabi in my next video.
Thanks for watching. Like and share the video. You can also drop your comment. Please don't forget to subscribe. Click on the bell to turn on the notification.